This building where we are right now was my middle school. This was Blake Middle School. And then I remember getting to the high school and getting to basically experience a new school. Brand new science labs, brand new library.
I actually just retired now, going on 2 years, so I was in the Medfield schools for 35 years. 17 of those years were at the high school. I just always enjoyed teaching, and I think that it just was the right combination, myself and Medfield. Mainly because I was born and brought up here and I went to school here. So I think the most interesting thing is that I was able to take, especially with my history and the political science, were the two subjects that I had at the high school, I was able to take my knowledge of the town and use that into the classroom. And that was kind of exciting in the junior U.S. history and the AP U.S. history, to bring in primary sources that we had out of the Historical Society that would go along. So what we were talking about in history in the bigger sense, it just was interesting to bring it down to their own town and see what small town Medfield was doing. And I think that kind of captured the kids a little bit more, made it more interesting for them. So I think that was real interesting. And then the issue always is size, sheer numbers. And Medfield has gone through a couple of swings. We have had a booming population, and then the population, the school-age population, has gone down. In the 1980s, we actually were closing some schools, Memorial School, Dale Street School. So you had declining enrollments. And then the population increased. And so you had to make room for that. This school was the largest of the schools. We were bursting at the seams over at over 24 Pound Street, what was Medfield High School. And so what they were able to do is take the larger school, in a sense, maybe financially save some money, because we took the existing middle school, rehabbed it, and then added on. The area now, that's all the science area, the math wing, the auditorium is all brand new, all has been added on. The auditorium over at what is now the middle school is much smaller. So it just was sheer numbers and size. And in fact, in the early 2000s, Medfield, the town of Medfield, had the highest percent of kids 18 and under than any city and town in Massachusetts. We were number one. So you had this booming population. We had to address that.
In terms of the construction project that they were doing, this is in the late 90s. At the middle school, they were building a whole new science wing. They were building a brand new library. And if you think of it over up, like the library sticks out into the courtyard, that was all brand new. And they were building that when I was in 7th and 8th grade. And so when I was a 7th grader, an entire wing of Blake Middle School had high schoolers walking over every day to have class, because they were doing construction over there. So if you can imagine being like a little 6th grader and seeing this big high school senior with a beard and muscles, football shirt walking down the hallway, it was pretty scary. It was intimidating. I mean, when you guys walk into the middle school right now, those kids are looking at you like you're giants from the planet Mars. So I remember the whole thing of high schoolers being here. And then I remember getting to the high school and getting to basically experience a new school. Brand new science labs, brand new library. So that was kind of exciting. Now think of this, the town spent, I don't know, over $10 million redoing that, and that was 1995, and within a decade, they realized, uh-oh, we made a mistake. We don't have a big enough school, we need to flip. Because my graduating class from Medfield High School was about 130. The kindergarten class was 280. So just imagine that. The graduating high school class is 130, and they're looking down the road and saying, 280? You don't have room for that. That's double the class. So that's why we got the flip.
One of the great things about athletics and any type of extracurricular is that it increases the student involvement, not just outside of the classroom, but so often, especially in our community, coaches and instructors are also teachers. So I know for Mr. Ornberg, Mrs. Lohan, myself, we're able to continue on the relationships with students outside of the classroom, and then in dealing with them, I think that helps to strengthen our relationship.
I think what I would consider to be the most significant change here is the after-school activities, the sports, the extracurriculars that we have here at the high school. It's very busy. You walk through the high school after 2 o'clock, and it's just as busy as it is between 7:30 and 2:05. Between all the clubs we have, the theater that we have, the music, the sports, there's a lot happening after hours, and I think that's the big difference between the two schools. we want all our students to be engaged in activities after school, whether it's sports or the arts or clubs. I think we were close to about 97% of our students are involved in some sort of activity. So getting our students to participate in these extracurriculars is important to us, and that's probably the biggest difference between high school and the middle school.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the teachers that I had who are currently still at Medfield, who haven't either retired or sort of moved away, a lot of them were in their first year teaching when I had them. So now they're the veterans. They're the ones who people look at as having deep roots in the school. In my first year back, not as a student, I was in the role of a classroom aide. So I was able to not go right from student to instructor, but I also spent a year sort of observing a lot of the teachers in the school, which is great because I was able to look at their instruction and their practices in a much different light than I had as a student. Try to see what worked, what didn't work, and how I could incorporate their procedures or their ideas into my classroom.
This community is very unique. They've made a concerted effort to support all of our efforts here at school, whether you're an elementary student or a high school student. Here at the high school, we benefit from all the good that is happening at Memorial, at Wheelock, at Dale, and at Blake. We get those students who are very prepared for high school. So I think that the difference here is really the coordination and the coordination between the school department and the town itself. And then you look at sort of how this community values education. When there have been years where the budgets have been thin and we've needed to go to the community for some support, they've done that. We have the Medfield Coalition for Public Education, which just does a tremendous job of providing us resources that allow us to really create neat and exciting and engaging activities for students. There's a lot of trust, I believe, between the schools and the town and the residents and our parents, and I think that that's kind of the model. That's how it should work. And because of that support, because everyone's kind of on the same page, the parents have high expectations, the community has high expectations, we have high expectations, our students have high expectations, and we all want them to do well. And I think that when you take all of that together and you're going in one direction, the same direction, and everyone's committed, you get kind of what we have here.
It really, my whole life has revolved around it. I was a student here for 4 years, and then for 35 years I was in the Medfield school system, 17 in the high school. I may be biased because I'm from Medfield, but I don't think you'll find a nicer group of students just to work with.
Now I don't know if I'm lost, but this all just looks the same. I am pushing on the doors between sorrow and fame. I would crawl out of this hole if it wasn't so cold in the morning.